Okay, closely related to model purpose is the concept of process. What process is your model looking to actually support? And again, this might seem like a fairly obvious question to be asking yourself. The issue is that stakeholders and people involved in implementing and putting models to use rarely ask this question unambiguously to themselves at the start of the process. One thing I'm a huge fan of at the start of any model build process is to kind of draw out the boxes that reflect where the model sits in terms of wider accounting packages, data systems, other third-party non-Excel environments. And not only that, but in terms of the broader Excel models as well. So yeah, a key question is to say, where does this model sit in my infrastructure? And this relates back to the previous video we were talking about around model purpose. Excel is an incredibly powerful thing, and you can get it to do an entire world of different accounting activities and operations. That said, that doesn't mean it's necessarily the right tool for things. So for example, you're not going to get Excel to be your trial balance. You're not going to use it as your detailed inventory management system. Thinking in those terms allows you to make sure you're not trying to get your financial model to do too much. We often see this around variances. So to the extent that you're running detailed variances, particularly around inventory and things like that, Excel can do it, but 99% of the time, I wouldn't recommend a client go down that path. I would get them to use their system, particularly when you start getting into large data sets, to actually be supporting that particular accounting process. Closer to home in terms of the actual modeling, it's always good, particularly with a rolling model that's got historical and forecast aspects in there, to be much more explicit about what the process of the model is trying to support. So for example, with a lot of Modano models, we have an incredibly robust historical forecast sliding doors kind of mechanism. The issue that often has from a process perspective is people look and go, well, okay, great, I've got a lot of historical information in here. Let's get the model to give me all of my historical detailed analysis. Now, you've probably got a package, an ERP system or something like that that's going to have much better information in. The reason why process is important is when you are trying to pack a whole load of information into your model, what process are you trying to support? Another good example of this is something like your detailed debtors book. Some clients like to import their detailed debtors into their financial model because it gives them a location at which they can then look and manage their detailed debtor book. Now, if your process is debtor collection, your Excel model isn't the place in which you should be supporting that process. And again, we get back to model purpose. So what is the fundamental purpose of your model? If there is a bit of analysis that is superfluous or doesn't help you get to the aims of supporting that fundamental model purpose, then ditch it. You're trying to put too many processes into your model use, and you'll end up with a model that becomes bigger than Ben-Hur and starts to scare people.